All right, here we go. We have a New Orleans music OG in the building. Lil Ya of the legendary group UNLV, one of the original groups signed to Cash Money. Welcome to VladTV.
What's up? What's up? How y'all doing?
Hey man, pleasure to finally sit down with you. You know, we've been talking about doing this now for a few months and we finally made it happen.
Yeah, almost a year now, man.
Yeah, absolutely. But we finally got it to actually click.
Yeah.
All right, so this is our first time actually talking. So I want to get into your whole story. So you grew up in New Orleans.
Right.
Okay. What was New Orleans like in the 80s?
I mean, it was more love than anything. I mean, it was poverty, rough times, and stuff like that. But I mean, overall, it was a great place to grow up in. When the crack epidemic hit, like around the mid '80s, early '80s, you know, a lot of things changed. You know, a lot of parents and like people related to our friends or whatever got on drugs, and some of our family members got on drugs, and it was a difference then. But overall, it was a lot of love, man.
Okay. So as you saw the neighborhood start to change and cracks start to hit, suddenly you had an economy for guys to start making a lot of money on the street.
Right.
But with that came the violence. And I remember when I interviewed U.N.L.V. just recently, when I asked what was it like growing up in New Orleans, his answer was murder, murder, murder. He said he had seen every type of murder. He had seen his friends killed. It was just an absolute mess. So was that similar to the type of things you were seeing?
Yes, pretty much. I mean, a lot of murder was going on, but the difference between now and then, people was getting murdered over, things that they fucked up, you know what I'm saying? They really done something they didn't have no business doing or something like that, you know what I'm saying? Versus now, they killing for a name, you know what I'm saying? That type of murder didn't go on back in the days.
Okay. And you yourself, growing up in this type of environment, how much did you get mixed up into the streets yourself?
Oh, well, my father was a street dude from Chicago. He moved to New Orleans. My mom was blue collar. I had rules to follow. I was a fortunate one that grew up with both parents in the home with me. I had rules. I knew about rules and morals. You know what I mean? The things that I did on the street, I chose to do,
Okay. Now, Tech Nine, that's your brother with two different mothers, right?
Actually, that's my best friend. We like brothers,
Okay, so you guys aren't actually
we're not blood brothers. Right.
Okay. And Yella grew up around you as well.
Yes. Yella grew up around the corner from my house. We've been friends since like 2 years old, like babies, actually babies.
Okay. And so you guys are growing up together. And I guess the music starts around 11 years old?
Yeah, yep.
Okay, so what made you guys want to start doing music together?
Well, me and Tech met in the 7th grade at a middle school called Carter G. Woodson, and we both was in the band. So, my uncle actually influenced us to start rapping because we didn't have rap on our mind. We just both had a love and a big passion for music. And when, my uncle just was telling us about rapping, we was starting to listen to rap music and stuff like that, we decided, let's do this. And like I said, the crack hadn't came out or whatever, so we decided, we young, we gonna rap about something positive. We had my little sister, she was 3 years old at the time. We put her in the group. We went by the name of the Sporty MCs at the time. And we won every talent show in the city, you know what I mean, at 12 years old. So that was the beginning of our rap era.
Okay, so you guys come out as the Sporty MCs.
Sporty MCs.
And you guys are doing positive Sporty MCs, right? And
right.
You guys are doing positive raps.
Right.
And everything else like that. And at one point, there's a guy named Everlasting Hitman who has since passed away. And I guess he was one of the first ones that was doing gangster rap in New Orleans.
Well, he was actually doing gangster. Yep. I would say gangster rap.
Okay. And with that, did that kind of inspire you guys to sort of switch your subject matter and change your name?
Most definitely, most definitely. I mean, Hitman definitely was one that inspired us to get back in the game and start back doing our thing, because we stopped rapping from like maybe 14 to the age of 18, simply because we won WYLD challenge show, and WYLD was the biggest radio station in New Orleans. And we was promised, and we won a contract to actually record a song, and it never happened. So we was like, man, that rap shit ain't real. We gonna leave that alone, you know what I'm saying? So years later, we got back in it. And dudes like Everlasting Hitman, you had what? Juvie was doing it. You had DJ Jimmy, and Gregory D, people that we really knew, and they had cut records, you know what I mean? So we was like, we got skills already, man. We jump back in this shit. It seems like it's real now. We changed our name, told my little sister she gotta chill, and, went by the name of UNLV.
Which stands for?
Uptown Niggas Living Violent. Niggas like never ignorant, getting goals accomplished, you know what I mean?
Right.
That's
like
what the
Tupac
nigga
said.
stands for, right.
Okay. And by that time, by 1994, New Orleans was like the murder capital.
No doubt.
How bad was it at that point?
What you mean, the city itself?
Yeah.
Every day you waking up hearing about somebody, getting killed, man. Throughout the day, you hearing gunshots. Oh, man, it was a ridiculous time. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, the music was picking up in our city. A lot of different artists was coming about and, coming to the forefront, making noise. And we was one. We sold like 250,000 copies.
Right. We're going to get into that part of the story. I just want to focus on how you guys sort of, got to these next few points. So you guys renamed yourself to U.N.L.V, and it was you, Yella Boy, and Tech Nine.
Right.
At the time, was Cash Money Records already around?
Yeah, Cash Money was around. We never heard of them at that time, but mid '92 is when we went. We met with them, but we never heard of the company until we actually met them. Make sense?
Okay. Did you know about Birdman at the time? Was he like a known guy in the neighborhood?
Well, he was known, but I never knew him. I never knew him. My sister went to school with him, but I never knew him.
Okay. And how did you guys actually meet?
Well, we met through a guy named Kevin. We were selling tapes on the street. We missed that part, whatever, but we were selling tapes on the street, and Birdman and Slim got a tape. I don't know where they got a tape from, but they contacted this guy named Kevin, which was a friend of the producer that produced Another Bitch, which was our first single. And he told Kevin that he wanted to have a meeting with us. And they set the meeting up. And we went to the office and actually sat down with him.
Okay. And did you guys sign right away?
Nah, we didn't sign right away.
Okay, so what made you guys sign?
Maybe like about 3 weeks later, we signed the contract.
Okay. Can you say how much it was for?
It wasn't a signing bonus for it. It was like our first contract was actually like a 2-album deal, and it was a little more than the standard artist percentage. I think it was like
so basically
9%.
it was just more of an opportunity to just put out projects.
Right.
Okay, and at the time, who else was on Cash Money?
Kilo G, and I'm not sure if PMW was signed at the time, but I know PMW came right around that time we got there. We was the first group signed, but Kilo G was the first artist.
Okay, and Manny Fresh was already there.
Yeah, he actually didn't do any production on Kilo G music. We was the first artist that Cash Money had that he worked with. He was in-house already, but he never really produced anything.
Okay. When you first heard Manny Fresh, did you see the musical genius already, or did it take a little while to develop that?
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, Manny's name had been ringing for years, you know what I'm saying? Before I even heard of any Cash Money or whatever, I knew of a Manny Fresh, you know. But yeah, he had his respect from us before we even met him.
Right. And I guess the first album, you actually recorded it in Manny Fresh's kitchen, sitting on crates.
Exactly. Six and Barone was recorded in Manny Fresh kitchen. One microphone, we passing the microphone, we sitting on crates. And, you know, company generated more money to get better, you know, put us in better studios as we went along.
Okay, so you come out with your debut album, Sixth and Barone, and this was released in 1993 on Cash Money Records. And I guess it was mostly released just locally.
Yeah, the Southern region had it.
Okay, and this is kind of considered a classic in New Orleans rap.
Yeah, definitely. We had like I said, our first single was Another Bitch. And also wanted to mention Another Bitch didn't have Yella Boy on it. You know, we first signed with Cash Money, just me and Tech is UNLV. So our first single was Another Bitch, and we also had another single on there once we added Yella Boy to the group, which was called Eddie Bow. And that was Yella Boy's solo song on the album.
Okay, so then you dropped a couple more albums. You dropped Straight Out the Gutter in 94 and Mac Mel's Calio in 95. And how did those albums do?
They done real good. They done real good. I mean, independent. We had radio for like Six and Barone. We didn't have any radio for Straight Out the Gutter, but we had radio advertisement and all that kind of stuff for Mac Mel's Calio. So it was around like 60,000 to anywhere from 60,000 to 150,000 copies sold of those three albums.
Okay. I mean, with that many copies being sold, especially independently, were you guys seeing the money you're supposed to get at that point?
Well, we wasn't seeing what we were supposed to be getting, but we was getting anything that we asked for, and we was cool with it. You know, we didn't really find out what we were supposed to be getting until we later went to court with them.
Got it. And at the time, was Lil Wayne around?
Well, Lil Wayne was actually around, and he came around in like, I want to say 94, 95. But he wasn't actually in the studio with us or nothing like that. He was only 9 years old or something like that. So I can remember meeting him his first time everybody met him. And I can also remember him calling while we would be on the road. He'll call and, you know, ask us to listen to his raps, you know, and we'll, you know, critique his raps or whatever, you know, let him know it's off the chain, you know what I mean? But he wasn't actually physically around.
Okay. And BG wasn't around either?
Yeah,
Turk
BG was around. BG was around.
BG was around.
BG came around in 90, 94.
Okay, so right around the time, that's when the Future roster kind of started to, you know, be around Cash Money then.
The Future what? Rock?
The Future roster, meaning the artists.
Oh,
that
yeah.
Right, Cash Money are starting to come around 94. Okay. So around that time, Mystikal was also starting to pop.
Mm-hmm.
When did you guys really start getting wind of Mystikal?
Well, we actually went to school with Mystikal. You know, we was in high school together before as the rap. And when he got out the service, he came on the block and actually told me that, you know, he had started, you know, taking his rap real serious or whatever, you know what I'm saying? And that was like maybe, beginning of 95. Around 95. Yup, something like that. The end of 94.
Okay. And I guess I'm trying to figure out sort of the origin of some of the friction. Because, I mean, from what I understand, I guess there was a song that you guys had, Eddie Bow?
Eddie Bow.
Eddie Bow. Okay, so you guys had the song Eddie Bow. And it seemed like Mystikal kind of responded to it on one of his songs,
Right.
On Y'all Ain't Ready, where he
Yep.
said, matter of fact, I'm gonna tell you motherfuckers 3 things I'm gonna never do. 1, I'm gonna never change my style. 2, I'm never gonna bounce. 3, never gonna bow.
Yeah, he dissed us. And it wasn't the fact that he dissed us. What a lot of people don't know is, you know, he came to me and he asked about it before he actually done it. You know, so he planned a rap battle. You know, basically. You know, when he did that, wasn't nothing coming close to us in New Orleans. You know what I'm saying? So we handling our business. And I guess he felt like, look, I'm gonna aim at the top and see what pop. You know, I feel me? You know what I'm saying? So, all right, he came to me and hollered about doing a battle. I was like, cool, you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna tell my dogs. So I'm gonna check in Yella or whatever, you know what I'm saying? So you do what you do. Actually, we didn't pay it any mind because we didn't think it made enough noise for us to diss him back. But he came back with something else. He dissed us again. He called Yella a coward or something like that or whatever. In one of his later songs that came out later. And that's what made us do what we did with Dragon from the River and Boom Get Chopped.
Right, because he dropped a song called Here I Go. And he said, stop walking the one way to a fucking dead end. Bitch, you yellow, coward-hearted. Better bring some water. Kick the gasoline can over. Get this fucking fire started. And then that's when you guys put out the next album, Uptown for Life. And that had Drag 'Em in the River.
Exactly. And it also had Boom Get Chopped. So we was like, yeah.
Right. And Yella Boy kind of went right at him. He called him a fake cheerleading bitch. He said, you want me to beware? I'm going to show you some spokes right now, you bitch you. And how big was Drag 'Em in the River?
Yeah. It was our biggest record. And I mean, it was so big till it still get played in almost every club now, you know what I mean? So that was like, and it was also just I think, I'm not sure, I think it was the record that, nah, I don't want to speak on that because I don't know for sure.
Okay. And Mystikal responded. He dropped a song called Back from the River. He said, I'm about to lay you young big mouth punks down without your pillow. You won't say Mystikal no more. Somebody said that you were looking for me. Which I guess was a response to Yella Boy saying that when he catches him, he's gonna X, Y, and Z.
Never heard it.
Okay.
I never heard it.
Okay. Well, I interviewed Mystikal recently, and I mean, he talked about the beef. He said at one point he ran into Yella Boy, and Yella Boy pulled a pistol out on him.
He wasn't gonna do nothing with that, man. It was like, you know, you was fucking with Mystikal that day, man. Man, Mystikal knew, man. He wasn't gonna do nothing with that pistol, man. Believe you me, bro. I mean, Mystikal actually was our dude. We was so close to Mystikal. It was like when we see each other in the hallway at school, we'll instantly start ribbing each other. You know what I'm saying? And ribbing in New Orleans is like playing the dozens. You feel me? So I mean, it was nothing ever personal, man. Nothing ever personal, man.
Okay. And I remember, you know, Mystikal even said, you know, years later when him and Birdman became cool, that, you know, Birdman admitted that he was sending people at him, and Mystikal was holding his ground and doing what he had to do. I mean, were things outside of the, you know, the Yella Boy gun situation, were there other incidents that were happening along the way?
I don't know if any incidents happened with him and Baby. I don't know anything about that, but as far as with us and Mystikal, UNLV and Mystikal, nah, man.
Well, the album does better than all your previous albums. It sells 200,000 copies.
You going in and out.
How did it feel to have an album that did that well independently?
Real good. It felt good, man, because back then, I mean, we had commercial videos, but we didn't have the support that they have now with the internet and stuff like that, you know what I mean? So to do those kind of numbers independent, We was even on Billboard, you know what I mean? So that was a good feeling.
Well, around that time, that's when Juvenile actually started coming around and signed to Cash Money, right?
Uh-huh. Juvie signed in, what, 95?
Yeah, something like that. Now, were you involved with bringing Juvenile
Yeah,
around or him signing or anything else like that?
definitely. Well, Juve was like I say, was somebody that inspired us and to get back in the game, and he was proof that that it was popping, that rap was popping in New Orleans. So it was I can't say a friend, but I mean he was a good partner of ours. You know what I'm saying? So Juvie put us on the map, putting us on the map, which I mean by what I mean by that is he said our name before we even got on. Before we even signed with Cash Money, he made a song with DJ Jimmy, and he put us on the map in the beginning of the song. So I call myself returning the favor, not only returning the favor, but looking out for him because I knew he had the talent, and I was all about helping, build our record label. You know what I'm saying? Being a team player, and I knew Juvie would be a perfect part. You know what I'm saying? A perfect piece of the puzzle. So to make a long story short, I ran into him at the bus stop one day, and I brought him to the studio. We was working on BG album at the time. I was going to drop my verse for something All on Me, All on You, Volume 2 for BG. And I brought Juvie to the studio and I let him rap for Birdman and Slim. They had to knew about him or whatever, but I mean, nobody never once said that they was trying to, get him to sign him. I saw him and I brought him over there and I told Baby I thought it'd be a good look. Once he rapped for him, he blew their mind. You know what I'm saying? They instantly, took care of their business with him and give him a contract.
Yeah, I mean, I just interviewed Juvenile. He talked about that situation, how he was at a bus stop and he was, had a good job uh, working with like hazardous waste or something crazy like that. And,
Okay.
he came back to the studio and he basically asked for $2,000 a week, which is, a bit more than what he was making in his 9 to 5. And, Baby and Slim thought about it and the next day hit him up. It's like, all right, cool, let's do it.
I was coming from work and I had my hard hat on and my fire retardant suit on. And somebody's like, man, what kind of job you got? I was like, man, I'm working on plants, man, backwards and forth, doing, I was working for on-site environmental. And I'm like, man, I do turnarounds and stuff like that. And it was like, you making money? I said, yeah, I'm making a lot of money, enough money to not want to quit my job to rap. And they drove me home, and the drive home changed everything. I started. He said, "You still rap?" I said, "Oh yeah, I still rap. I just, I gotta live. So rap ain't paying no bills right now." So I sung some of my songs to him, and I made a deal with him. I'm like, "Look, if you could pay me $2,000 a week, I quit my job. Matter of fact, I take a leave of absence right now and just start going to the studio." He was like, man, they ain't really want to make that deal. They ain't want to really make that deal right then and there. But I guess he couldn't sleep. He couldn't really sleep on it. He called me back the next morning like, look, it's a deal. It's a deal, man. What I got to do, I like, look, give me 3 weeks advance. Let's start off with that. And I'll be in the studio tomorrow.
I never knew what they worked on or whatever, how his deal was structured or whatever. I just knew that, I brought him over there. And, Baby then was willing to put him on paper.
Right. And then later on in 2001, Juvenile actually reused, was the Drag 'Em in the River beat on Set It Off?
Right.
How'd you feel when you heard like that beat being used on a Juvenile song?
I was like, damn. I mean, I was shocked in the beginning. I was like, damn, you know what I mean? This is the exact same beat. Nothing was, you know what I'm saying? No, nothing added, nothing taken away. But at the same time, Fresh made the track. So Fresh still was a part of Cash Money. I understood that, they had all rights to use it. So, I wasn't tripping.
Right, it was a good look and probably introduced people to the
Right,
original song as well.
exactly. I mean, every time they hear that, they gonna automatically think of Dragon from the River. You know what I mean? So I was good with it.
Well, Cash Money is growing. And then in 1996, No Limit signs his big $30 million deal with Priority Records. And you actually said that Master P got Bought About It from you guys.
Yeah, it's obvious. I mean, we had a song called "I'm About It" on the Mac Melf Callio album, and like months later, that song the song got hot so fast. We was actually dissing Partners in Crime, Mystikal and Jubilee on it. You know, and the song got hot real fast, and P, you know, he took the name of it. You know, he didn't take the vibe of the chorus, and he didn't take the vibe of the chorus. He took the name of it, and he had a song called "I'm About It."
Well, was that around the time that Cash Money and No Limit kind of started beef a little bit?
I really don't remember Cash Money and No Limit beefing.
There was some level of friction.
Nah,
I mean,
it
I've
was
talked to a few people about
UNLV and it was UNLV Mystikal. You know, once later, you know what I'm saying? When he was with Big Boy and when he was with No Limit. But I mean, I don't know anything about No Limit and Cash Money beefing, Vlad. For real, dog.
Okay.
They never worked
Well,
together.
I guess
nothing
this Mystikal
like
was
that.
at
Huh?
Yeah. Well, I guess since Mystikal was at No Limit and you guys are Cash Money, I guess it's sort of
I guess.
adopted
But
a
I mean,
little bit.
right.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, I remember when I interviewed Juvenile, he said that once he came on board and signed to Cash Money, that Cash Money started to get rid of some of the other groups and artists that they were working with. So was that around the time that UNLV and Cash Money started to part ways?
Nah, we parted ways in 97. Juve came on board in 90, 94, 95.
Okay, so a couple years later, you guys parted ways,
Right.
and it wasn't an amicable party. Some drama happened around it.
Well, I mean, a lot of shit. You know, I was hearing rumors about, you know, they dropped us and shit like that. But facts is that our deal was, I mean, our time was up. We actually asked, once they got the deal, we asked Baby and Slim for, you know, X amount of money, you know what I'm saying? Once they got the deal, they were like, nah, we can't give y'all that right now, dog, you know what I'm saying? And we actually wanted to start our own label, you know? And it was like, nah, we can't give y'all that. And we were like, all right, we want out then, you know what I mean? And I mean, they didn't try to hold us up or nothing like that. You know, they didn't try to keep us locked in or nothing. They just, you know, respected our mind and let us go, you know what I mean?
Well, there was a rumor that there were some unpaid royalties around that
Yeah,
time.
we didn't find out that until like after, once we had got off the contract. That's when, you know, we went to discovering like, damn, you know, everything we done had this and, you know, had that, and ain't nothing without in our name. So that's when the attorneys came in play and shit like that. And we found out that, you know, we had some unpaid royalties. And we also found out that, you know, I don't know how clear to put it, but they didn't know what they was doing. So, you know, I can't say that they straight got us. They played us, because if they did, they would have made sure that the I's was dotted while they was doing it. You know, we found out all this once we went to court. You know, we had unpaid royalties, but they didn't have it. You know what I mean? You know, the publishing and all that kind of shit was fucked up, man.
Well, around the time that you guys parted ways, there was a rumor that Yella Boy pistol whipped Baby and shot up one of his trucks.
Well, Yella and Baby had a physical fight during the Uptown for Life period. You know, we were shooting a video for Uptown for Life. They had a physical fight. They got into a whoop de whoop. You know, that shit was squashed a couple of weeks later. You know, before as the pistol whipping and all that shit, that's rumors, man. Yella did
Okay, so
actually go to his house looking for him and, shot up the house and shit. But pistol whipped him and nah, he didn't do that, man.
okay, but Yella Boy shot up Birdman's house.
Yeah. Nobody was near
Okay.
whatever. That's just like some angry shit. He was pissed off, something went on with him and baby. And he went shot up the house in the car.
Okay. I mean, but once you do that, now you're escalating things to a whole different level with somebody.
Yeah.
Once that happened, did anyone from Cash Money retaliate? Did the beef,
Nah, I mean
spill into other situations?
after that they talked and he done. I mean, the whole thing was behind a royalty check that Yella was supposed to get. He wasn't where he was supposed to be to get it. So baby actually, after that, after Yella, shot up the house or whatever, they met to get together. He gave him his check or whatever, and that shit was dead. You know what I mean? They ain't even talk. They no arguments or nothing. They just sit down like men and discuss that shit.
Okay. But then Kilo G ends up getting shot and killed.
Yeah, I think he was murdered at his house. I'm not sure, but I think he was murdered at his house.
Right. He was shot and killed in his home in the 7th Ward. He was only 20 years old at the time. Do you know what that situation was over?
Nah.
Okay. How do you deal with one of your best friends who's in your group that you guys came up together, you had all the success together? He gets murdered before he could even legally drink.
Right. It's hard, man. I mean, we still deal with it daily. But one thing that we always discuss when he was living that we'll never let the name U.N.L.V. die. We started out as two, added him to the group, and we always remain the same, bro. Whatever happened, we got to keep the sugar rolling, bro. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's very unfortunate, but everybody got to die. That's why we used to have these kind of talks. You know what I mean? So it never was on me and Tech mind to actually stop once Yella died. You know what I'm saying? We can't do this. We'll be letting him down. He won't want us to do this. You feel me? So it's fucked up, very fucked up, man. I mean, we gotta live with it.
What year did Kilo G get killed?
96, early 96.
Okay. So Kilo G gets killed in 96, which is a blow, a major blow to you guys. But then a year later, on April 5th, 1997, Yella Boy gets killed.
Right. That was crazy,
Now,
man.
Well, I mean, according to reports, they're saying that he had bought some dope and he was sitting in his car and he gets murdered in his car. He got shot in the head in the Central City neighborhood in New Orleans. What did you hear happened with his murder?
That's exactly what I heard. I heard that he pulled up by this club called Tammy's, and he was going to get some dope or whatever, some heroin, and he was murdered in his car while getting it.
Did they ever catch the guy who did it?
Nah, the case went like a cold case or some shit like that, man.
Okay, what about Kilo G? Did they catch the guy who killed him?
No.
Okay, so here you are. Kilo G just gets killed. He's not in the group, but he's close to you guys.
A part
but
of the
then
label.
Yella Boy, yeah, it's part of the label. But then Yella Boy, who is in the group, gets killed. And all these murders are unsolved. Like, why? Number one, do you think the police just didn't care, or there was just too many murders in the city and it was just whatever? Or why do you think there weren't any real investigations about this?
Man, probably because so much shit was happening in the city, and fuck, they probably just didn't give a fuck, man. They
Yeah,
they probably didn't give a
it's
damn, man,
sad.
for real. Black on black crime, whatever, all that shit play a part in it, man.
Well, there was lots of rumors about who killed Yella Boy. Um, we're not going to get into who said what, who did what, but obviously, a lot of people are going to be looking at people you were beefing with. You're going to be looking at the label that you were beefing with. You're going to talk about everything else like that. But ultimately, we don't know. Um, you know, when you were dealing with this and you hear the streets talking and all these different names are coming up, like how did you take all that in?
Man, I was like, man, I don't know where this shit could have came from, dog. You know what I mean? I mean, fuck. Yella was, all us were street cats, but I didn't hear about Yella beefing with nobody during the time, you know what I'm saying? Nobody, the streets wasn't saying none of this shit during the time of it. So, I mean, I try not to lose focus on where we at, bro. You know what I'm saying?
Well, there was a rumor that Birdman's song "What Happened to That Boy" was a reference to Yella Boy's murder. Do you believe that?
I can't believe that shit, man. I can't believe that.
Did you talk to Birdman after all that happened?
Yeah, I talked to Birdman a few times after that happened. A few times. I mean, we didn't talk about any business once we told him, that we wanted off the label. That was before Yella even passed. But, afterwards, we talked about that situation, and he was like, man, ask me more than I could ask him, you know what I'm saying? He seemed puzzled, fuck.
Right. And I guess, a couple years later in 1999, Birdman's brother, Terrence Gangster Williams, he ended up getting a life sentence plus 240 years for continued criminal enterprise and conspiracy to commit murder. And he's still in prison to this day. Did you guys know him at all?
Yeah, I knew Gangster well. Actually, me and Gangster went to
Okay.
private school together.
Okay. When you found out he got life plus 240 years, which you rarely hear these types of numbers being thrown around, how did you feel?
That fucking time real. That's how I felt. Fuck. Give a person that kind of time, man, goddamn, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah. Sad, man. Sad. Just a lot of, when you kind of tell this whole story, it's just a lot of death and prison and pain and hurt along the way.
Mm-hmm.
It's sad. It's sad.
Right.
Okay. So, Soldier Slim, originally was known as Magnolia Slim, and you guys actually worked together really early on.
Right.
Okay. And I guess there was almost a situation where you wanted to get him on a song, and Birdman didn't want to get him on and didn't want to feature him because he wasn't signed to the label.
Right.
There was a whole kind of hoopla over that.
Yeah.
Okay, explain.
Well, actually, Slim, we all from the third wall. He from the Magnolia, we from Six and Barone. And he was like doing this thing with the music around the same time we was. And by being from our hood and him being so close to us, we wanted to feature him on the song. During that time, Cash Money was a bigger label than the label that he was on, so it would have got him a little more exposure or whatever. So we brought him to the studio, and we told Baby and Slim that we wanted him on a song called "Come Up Move with Us." Well, it didn't turn nice at all. They was like, to make a long story short, they shut the studio down that night because they didn't want him to record on our song, not being a part of the label. And they never offered him a contract. But, you know, they was like, nah, he ain't going on that song. But, you know, later on we talked about it or whatever, and that song did end up happening. Maybe a week later they called us back in the studio and we went back with him and we got the song done.
All right. And at that time, all, you know, in the years following, although Soulja Slim wasn't a household name, I mean, you kind of referred to him as the Tupac of New Orleans.
No doubt, no doubt. I mean, that's what he became to others, but like to me and my dudes, we saw the talent a long time ago. You know what I'm saying? We saw the talent a long time ago. That's why we fought so hard to get him on that song.
Right. And then right around 2003, he had a song called Slow Motion. And at the time, and me and Juvenile, we talked about this in our last interview, he had the song, he knew it was a hit record, but he didn't really have a label situation like Juvenile. So he asked Juvenile to jump on the song, and that became Juvenile's first #1 song.
Wow. That's how that happened?
Yeah. That's how it happened. Yeah. That was, you know, Juvenile even said in our interview, he goes, well, I don't consider that my #1 song because that was Soulja Slim's song. He just asked me to be on it, you know, but he's like, I don't consider that my song, even though my name is on it. And then the Juvie the Great album comes out in 2003. It goes platinum, and you get your first #1 song with Slow Motion.
Yeah, and really wasn't my song, Soulja Slim song. So technically, I never took credit for that record because my dude created it, and it was supposed to be on his album. And he kind of like, he went to my brother and asked my brother to talk to me, like talk your brother into putting it on his album. I think it'd be a better look on Universal than the company he was signed to. So that's how that went. But that was pretty much Soulja Slim #1 single. So if you want to be technical, I never had a #1 single.
And then the tragedy happens. Either before the song is released or right around the same time, Soulja Slim gets killed. When you heard the news, what did you think?
Man, I think that was like day before Thanksgiving or Thanksgiving Day or something like that. It fucked the whole holiday up that year, man. You know, to hear Slim got, you know, damn, that was crazy, bro. That was crazy, man.
Right, I guess he was killed like in front of his mother's house or
Yep,
something
right,
like that.
right. And on a lawn or some shit like that. That hurt the whole city, man.
Yeah. When I brought this up to Juvenile, he blamed the people around Soulja Slim for, you know, allowing him to get killed like that. He didn't get into any specifics, but he basically blamed the people around him.
You know, he was our Tupac. He was the Tupac of New Orleans, and not only New Orleans, all the surrounding areas. And, you know, I just felt like, I feel like New Orleans should have protected him a little better than that. I feel like that. I put the blame on the people that surrounded him.
Well, and then the guy who killed Soulja Slim ends up getting arrested and charged for the murder, and I believe he got ultimately sentenced to that. Well, I remember when Soulja Slim got killed, and I remember at the time I'm working with a very famous Southern rapper, and I'm not going to say who it is because this was all a private conversation at the time, but I remember, you know, I called him that day because we were talking about him doing some verses, and I'm like, yo, Soulja Slim just got killed. And he was like, shocked. And I'm like, yo, did you know him? He's like, very well. And I'm like, do you know what happened? He's like, I don't, but I can tell you that Soulja Slim really was in the streets like that. He would get high a lot. Sometimes he would rob the dudes, you know, to get high. He was dealing with some addiction issues and so forth. And, you know, we're not quite sure what else ultimately happened, but this was not just like, you know, a regular 9-to-5 guy who got mixed up. He was really in the streets at the time. I mean,
right.
How close were you, you know, is that a pretty accurate description?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, he was a street cat. You know what I'm saying? He was a street cat.
Were you and Slim really close at the time when he died?
Yeah, I've been cool. We've been cool with Slim since high school. You know what I'm saying? Up until when he died. Never no misunderstandings or none of that. You know what I'm saying? But I can't tell you what caused Slim to get killed. Or, you know what I'm saying? I don't know what happened. Period. You know what I'm saying? But he was a real dude. He was a street dude.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Rest in peace, man. It's sad that he finally gets such a huge song and he doesn't really get to live to experience it. You know, something he'd been working on his whole life, essentially. Yeah. Yeah. Rest in peace, man.
No doubt.
You know, and ultimately, Cash Money starts to have its own set of problems. Essentially, everyone leaves. You know, BG leaves, Turk leaves, Juvenile leaves, Manny Fresh ultimately left. Were you guys still in contact with Cash Money during this time, or were you guys completely separate?
Nah, I probably talked to Slim twice, and I probably talked to Baby once since we've been off the label.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so you guys were just seeing this from a distance.
Yeah, I mean, it ain't nothing personal because, you know, obviously they don't owe us nothing, we don't owe them nothing. I mean, it's cool, you know what I'm saying? Thanks for the experience. We out of there, you know what I'm saying? But as far as just talking, we never just sit down and talk about, you know, further business or nothing like that, you know what I mean?
Well, like you had mentioned earlier, you guys ended up suing Cash Money, and then in 2007, you guys actually settled.
Right.
Can you say what the settlement was?
I can't say the amount of money, but I can say we won the Masters. You know, we did win a nice chunk of change. You know, but what we was fighting for more than anything was our Masters, and you know, we have a problem getting it. Not at all.
Right. And now you got your Masters back. You got some money, and you know everyone has their own legacies,
Right.
essentially.
Right.
You know, and you guys continue to release more albums.
No doubt. Since then, we released like 6 albums. You know, we have 2 more record labels under our belt. We have artists. We also had a deal with Universal. Our first digital deal was with Universal. Now we're getting distribution through Equity, which is Jay-Z's digital distribution label. So I mean, we not there yet, but we climbing. You know what I mean? It ain't a quitting bone in our body, man. Believe that. So we good. Believe that.
Right. And the third member, he actually left rap altogether, right? He's doing something completely different.
Who, Tech?
Yeah.
Nah, we still a group. Actually, Tech 9 is incarcerated right now, on his way home, real short. He's been gone for the last 3, you know what I mean? Unfortunately, but thank God, you know, been keeping us afloat, you know, keeping the name alive like we always vow to do, you know what I'm saying? I put a few joint venture albums out while he's while he's doing his time. You know, like I say, he's on his way home any day now. Yeah, we got books, movies in the making, you know, a lot of big things that we plan on doing.
Okay, and what did Tech 9 go to prison for?
Armed robbery.
Oh. Okay. What makes someone at that point in their life do an armed robbery?
Man. I can't tell you that.
Yeah.
I can't tell you that.
Yeah. Well, Lil Ya, man, I appreciate you sharing your story. I think you guys definitely played an important role in New Orleans music. You know, if it wasn't for UNLV, we don't know what would have happened to Cash Money, how they would have developed, whether they would have fizzled out, you know, and just did something else. But you guys had a big influence, and to this day, you know, the songs are still being played in the clubs, man. So,
Right.
you know, I think that's very important as an artist to really have that type of legacy. You know, I appreciate you sitting down and sharing your story.
No doubt, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah, man, I'm looking forward, you know, once Tech gets out, looking forward to
Oh,
what you
yeah.
guys put out next.
For sure. We'll be back with you, man, real soon.
That's what it is. Till next time. Peace.
All right, Vlad.